Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Or actually, it's afternoon, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it's been a week. My name is Meghan Glenn. I am the sales director for media for Flowcode. We are the direct-to-consumer company. And I am joined today by our two fabulous panelists. Will you guys let us know who you are, where you come from?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy Straight. I head up business development and strategy for Innovid. Innovid is a brand-side ad server. We work with some of the largest global brands, helping them deliver their ad content across connected devices. So this is connected televisions, gaming consoles, digital devices, etc.
Nice to see you, Jeremy. Meghan. Dylan Tedesco. I'm the head of revenue operations and channel sales at T-Mobile Advertising Solutions. We are a division within T-Mobile US that focuses on using app insights and app engagement data to influence and optimize media strategy. I'm the former chief revenue officer of Octopus Interactive, which was acquired by T-Mobile back in January, which is where we got to know Flowcode quite intimately. So excited to be here.
I suppose that's the first thing that we should say. You guys are Flowcode partners, and we are very, very lucky to have you. Thanks so much. And I'm super excited because we're going to talk a little bit about how you guys are using QR to change the conversation around media attribution. It feels very timely as we're kind of talking about how TV isn't just linear. It's not just in the living room anymore, and how are we kind of creating connected experiences across all of those screens. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, largely, we've seen TV media as being kind of a brand awareness play as opposed to a performance driver. How are you kind of thinking about turning these captive TV moments, these captive screen moments into performance drivers? How are we actually turning TV into performance media?
Yeah. I think a shift has happened over the past, 5 or 6 years where we're seeing a lot more TVs in the living room that are IP connected, right? No longer is everything just delivered linear broadcast. And so with that enables a lot of opportunity for brands to think about their marketing budgets and how they're going to allocate dollars into the specific medium. And what I mean by that is traditionally we would look at things like a Nielsen measurement as a proxy for who did I reach. Well, now we can actually, given that everything is IP delivered, we can actually look at a household and say, hey, did I actually reach this consumer in this household? Match that up to audience data. And it gives us a real opportunity to look at a more fulfilled engagement across that individual household at the consumer level. And then when we bring in things like Flowcode, it's amazing that we can actually bring attribution as a part of that KPI for the marketer. So not only did they see my ad, not only did I reach this specific household, but did they do something? Did they engage with that creative element? And it's been a really eye-opening tool for the brands that we work with as they're starting to allocate more budgets into the connected TV space.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look at it similarly. So the company that was acquired by T-Mobile, Octopus, puts interactive video screens inside of rideshare vehicles across the country.
So everywhere these days.
We are scaling fast. We have over 30,000 screens out there, reaching nearly 20 million unique people on a monthly basis. And it presents a really unique opportunity to take that brand awareness level, which is what primarily we're being used for, but taking it a few layers deep and really starting to understand that when you have this captive high engagement opportunity, consumers are expecting more. And going back to your question on how are we able to do this, well, we're understanding that the difference between this offline strategy and the digital strategy is that you have to be deliberate in your efforts to create action, right? And that's really what we've always thought about, is that there has to be this kind of value exchange in order to get somebody to take action and then get to the lower parts of the funnel, because it does take a little more, a few more steps to get there. You have to take out your phone or do something. You're not already on your phone in that moment in time. So we've found that, our clients that are coming to us thinking brand marketing, are pleasantly surprised that there is more and more options out there to get to the lower parts of the funnel in an offline environment.
Yeah, it resonates because the thing that I'm thinking about is like you're letting the consumer decide whether it's brand or performance media themselves. It's like the consumer gets to make that choice when you have that kind of connection mechanism. But you made a good point about the captive audience, but also kind of still having to earn the engagement, right? Because just because you put a Flowcode on it doesn't mean you're going to actually scan. Nobody's responding to the code; they're responding to the content. So,
Sure.
can you guys talk a little bit more about kind of the creative side of it, and like, what is it that you're actually doing that is placing the right message in front of the right audience at the right time and actually compelling users to go on and take that action? Like, what is the earning part of that for you, your technology, and your brand partners?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak, and it's a reason we use Flowcode as a partner. We've used QR codes for a number of years now, and it's been a strategy that marketers have used. I think there was a shift, honestly, with the pandemic. I mean, the QR code killed the paper menu, basically, and I think it kind of normalized, how people think about interacting with QR technology. But here's the challenge. When I'm a brand like, Coca-Cola or Apple or, even a CPG brand like P&G, I've put hundreds of millions of dollars into my branding, my thought about my branding, how people engage with my branding, and to slap, just a standard ugly black and white QR code onto a given creative that my agency had created just didn't resonate well.
Yeah.
Now with the ability to, match the look and feel of my brand and make that as a part of the actual creative elements that are being presented to my consumers, it really makes the brand more comfortable about utilizing that as a tool, as a mechanism to engage with the brand. You have to have some sort of value exchange, I think, whether it's information or a coupon or whatever the brand's KPI is. But I just think the first step is, how does this methodology or this tool really match the look and feel of the branding and the creative that I've spent decades, if not generations, building.
Yeah, similarly, I look at it as the digital media side.
Yeah.
Whether you're on social or any other format, the requirement to act is much more seamless, right? So the creative doesn't need to be at such a high level. If I'm scrolling Instagram aimlessly, it's just part of my feed, and me engaging with that doesn't need to be this huge value exchange because it's one click. In our world, there is a much larger ask, so it does have to be content and creative driven. So we really work closely with brands to identify these opportunities to elevate their existing creative. So whether that's us creating something completely custom, like a gamified experience that they're not going to find anywhere else, or most importantly, seamlessly creating this environment of action. That's why we've loved working with Flowcode, is because it makes it seem like this action is already part and built in and embedded into the advertisement that they're giving us. So we can take their existing 30-second spot and elevate it to this level where you can now engage with it. It seems like it was supposed to be there. It's not intrusive, and that's really the big differentiator that we've seen, is that we're creating these really fun, unique experiences where people want to engage with them. It's not this big ask where, in some cases it has been beforehand.
Yeah. I love it because it's an interesting thing. We talk about first party data, and we talk about the death of the cookie and kind of how that's changing the way brands are choosing to engage with their consumers. And I think what we are seeing, and I'm lucky enough to work between publishers and brands, being the director for Flowcode, or I'm really just like super involved. The thing that's been really, really cool to see is that it's resulting in a lot more creativity, a lot more thoughtfulness about like, what is that message? It's a lot less about let's spray and pray with a ton of impressions, right? And it's more about like, how do we actually get the hooks in, build that loyalty, and cut through the clutter a little bit. And getting to be the conduit to that connection is really exciting.
Absolutely.
And what we see, and I'm hoping that you guys can speak a little bit to this kind of in our next section here. As a result, that earned interaction, the fact that it is so intentional, we say all the time, you can't accidentally scan a Flowcode. You can do a lot of things accidentally. You can't scan a Flowcode accidentally. And as a result, the results there are pretty significant. Very high conversion rates, really, really solid engagement. With Flowcode, understanding the fact that Flowcode is a piece of the puzzle, right? Piece of the ecosystem. You've got a lot of other things at play that are driving results for your partners. how, with this new kind of focus on driving results, on captive audiences, on efficiency in media, what is the results conversation looking like with your brand partners? How are you talking about ROI and performance and all of this?
Yes, I mean, I can speak to that. Retail media is very buzzy these days. Everybody who's ever sold anything now has a retail media network, which is fine. But if you think about shopper marketing exists just as much in your living room as it does in the backseat of a rideshare, right? In most cases, you are on your way somewhere to make a purchase. What better opportunity do you have to engage that person to take that next step, prepare them, give them some kind of offer to go use whenever they get somewhere. Similarly, in the living room, you likely have your phone out. You're ready to take action if the action is worth you taking, right? You have to have that value exchange. So when we look at ROI, we're looking at it as we can take that brand message, we can amplify it across, to millions and millions of people, but we can also get them to act in a fully measurable way because it is intentional. It is not accidental. You can't accidentally scan something, especially in a moving vehicle. So we're hinging on that, and we often, we're playing that consultant role. We're going to our clients and saying, look, if you want somebody to learn more, this probably isn't the best environment because there's no exchange. They can't accidentally learn more. Yeah. But if you have something to give, that's where we can really start to compete, and compete quite effectively with any other platform that you may be looking at in a shopper marketing sense.
Yeah, I agree with everything Dylan said. I mean, the only thing I would add is when you think about a marketer's perspective, they're going to have specific goals in mind for that campaign. And depending on the campaign goals, you're going to look at the specific creative deliverables, and then what did we accomplish with that campaign. So if it's upper funnel, brand recognition, that's one thing. I think we're a step down from that now. I mean, if you look at I think it was Jaguar just announced their new CMO. It's a woman who comes from an analytics background. That's no mistake, right? Like, it's no longer as you call it, a spray and pray methodology. There's real data science being used as you look at how you're going to expand your campaign goals, and it can be as simple as the value exchanges Dylan was talking about doesn't have to be like a coupon or sending some. It could be more information about a particular car brand, right? Like if I'm in the vehicle and I'm looking at the new Volvo XC90 electric and I scan that and it opens up a whole kind of interactive world where I can see different features that are not available in the standard video ad. That's a value exchange, right? I'm getting something in the moment that I'm interested in, but it could be as simple as CRM capture, right? Okay, you liked this vehicle, now populate your name and email, and we'll send you an email for a test drive when this hits your local dealership. So, and I think that all marketers are thinking about, how can I leverage the mediums that are available to me today to reach that consumer with those type of KPIs in mind. Yeah, and those. I was going to add those unique experiences, and it does not have to be a coupon or an offer. That can have a massive impact on the more traditional measurement components, exactly. Right? The recognition, the recall, favorability, etc. We did something really fantastic with Lexus not too long ago, where they had an augmented reality experience with their new Lexus, right? You can scan our screen and open it up and explore the car on your phone. Amazing. And that saw skyrocketed, top of funnel measurement. The perfect meeting point. But it was that experience, right? I love it. Absolutely. It sounds like you guys have done this before, first of all. The two activations times. There. It's the perfect meeting point of like science and creative, right? It's how do you generate, or how do you create an experience that's going to generate data and like really give you a result, but that has that surprise and delight moment that gets that brand recognition, a little bit of that brand loyalty in there. And I also really like that we are kind of looking at the idea of results where it's like, even the optimization standpoint, where like not every result story is going to be positive all the time, right? Like you're just getting that real-time insight of being, hey, we need to change the audience, then we need to change the message, or conversely, and what we like to hear more of is the conversions are off the charts, let's do more of this, right? Yeah, like that's absolutely. The one that we like to hear. So
the question that I want to wrap up on is, like, we're talking a lot about kind of this meeting point of traditional media consumption, in the sense that we are all very conditioned to watch a screen. We love TV in the home. We like TV in the backseat of a car. There's a reason that we put screens on everything. Like, we as human beings want to access TV everywhere we go. But that also brings us into a really interesting digital space, and now everybody is really conditioned to expect metrics, and we're all very conditioned to kind of look at things like, oh, click-through rate, conversion rate, all of this. How are you kind of talking about the results of your campaigns in the context of digital? Like, are we looking at scan as the new click-through, or like what's the new metric there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very simple, right? I think scan is becoming a metric that marketers will use if they have, QR technology as a part of the campaign goals. But again, using things like flow pages, right? Maybe it's scan to conversion of CRM capture, right? And I think they're looking at that, and I think it goes back again to the campaign goals of that particular marketer. But yeah, I think scan is a kind of a new digital metric that you can use as a proxy for success or engagement.
Yeah, and click-through rate is all well and good, but it only tells a very small part of the story. What we've really looked at is the ability to dive deeper. With the evolution of what Flowcode and just scanning has created, is it allows us to treat optimizations a lot closer to the kind of terminology that one might be used to, right? We can slice and dice at the zip code level. We can slice and dice at the day part level, and really understand how effective are your messages at different times and different parts of the campaign.
Across an entire campaign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look, at the end of the day, what the last couple of years have done is it's raised expectations for brands and consumers. Brands have an expectation of a lot more data, a lot more accuracy, and having it at their fingertips considerably faster. And consumers, want a better experience. There are more ads out there. It's hard to navigate. There's a reason why people are cutting the cord at the pace they are. They want less ads.
Yeah.
So we've looked at this as an opportunity to really provide value back to the advertiser, driven by data.
I think this has been my favorite session of the week. Honestly, this 20 minutes just absolutely flew. I really appreciate you guys so much for talking about this and really being front runners and using QR from an attribution standpoint and spreading the word about earning that engagement and very clearly showing the results and showing in the results that it works. So thank you so much for being Flowcode partners. Thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate it. I'm Megan, Jeremy, Dylan. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.